Hello and welcome to week 2 of classes. You've survived 1 week. This is great. Over the next few days, you're going to be receiving some grades back. And so this is a short tutorial about how to access the grades and the comments. You're going to want to have your syllabus at the ready so that you can understand what the grades mean. You'll be graded for the initial responses and also for the forum responses. And right now I'm just going to cover the grades for the initial responses, which you needed to post to Dropbox. So when you go into the course and I've graded and returned your work, you're going to have an alert that tells you that you have received a grade. Now, the problem is that going here is going to take you to the grade book, and from there, you will only be able to see the grade that you've received. You will not be able to actually access the comments. So instead, and the gradebook's good for keeping track of where your grades are overall. But instead, in order to see the comments, you need to go to the Dropbox. And you click on assignments and then on Dropbox. And that takes you to this page where you'll see that the assignment has now lapsed. But you'll find the feedback in the interface, and it will be highlighted blue unless you've already seen it. So let's see what that looks like. So when you go into the feedback, you'll have the original document you submitted, the Turnitin similarity report, which is about whether or not this is plagiarized. And by the way, what I did was I posted the assignment back, and it came out as an 87% match, since most of this information is online. And therefore, the student received a 0 because this was all plagiarized. But more importantly, you'll find the Turnitin grade mark link. And so you'll want to click on that. And you'll be taken to this interface, the Feedback Studio, which is being piloted, and I'm being asked to test it. It's got some good things about it, better than GradeMark, but there are some things I just don't like. In any case, it's the same interface for you. You'll be seeing your work once you get here and my comments. And in order to read my comments, you'll just have to click on the comment itself. And so I put the comment near the place that I want you to be reading. So Rebecca Moore Howard's text, I just wanted to remind everybody that her full name is Rebecca Moore Howard. Several people had called her Rebecca Moore, not noticing that her last name was back over here. And then I'm going to go through this just as a finalizing discussion of the plagiarism assignment. And so, right, many of you understood cheating was just ripping off information without giving any credit. Non-attribution, what I want to say about it is that the important idea here is this and. The real issue with non-attribution, it's when a student does cite the source, but does not put quotation marks around word-for-word information. If a student does not put quotation marks and a citation, that of course is cheating. But the issue here is that the student has taken word-for-word information from a source and not put quotation marks around it. For patch writing, it's the case where a student has really copied and pasted something into their document that they're writing and merely changed a few words from the quotation or move them around. It happens when students copy and paste information into their Their essays, when it happens in good faith, the student might not even be noticing what is copied and pasted and what's written anymore. But in any case, it's a serious problem, and the best bet is just to quote something, put quotation marks around it if you're going to put text into your writing, and then make sure that you work diligently to explain it in your own words. And the best bet is to always retype instead of copying and pasting anything into your own work so that you get a sense of how your writing is going to be different from what you're quoting. But okay, so what I asked you to do for this assignment is I asked you to write a 5-paragraph response that answered all of these questions. And what did I say here? Yeah, several things. All right. So let's just go through the examples. In the first example, we see that the student has named the source and the authors, and therefore it's not cheating. But we do see adults and youth involved in criminal activity have reported that guns are easy to obtain. Adult criminals and youth involved in illegal activities have reported that guns are not difficult to obtain. It sounds almost exact, but you'll note that the student is actually patch writing, since the student has just changed a few words around. For example, illegal became criminal down here, and adults and youth down here were adult criminals and youth. Just basically just moved a few words around. What did I say down here? Yeah, the student just basically moved a few words around. So example 2 is actually an example of where it is done correctly. Now, you'll note that a student did use some of the same terminology. For example, transmitting became transmit. But the majority of the passage is written in the student's own language. And overall, it's actually very clear here that the student is attempting to paraphrase the material effectively and to quote whenever some of the original language is important and should be maintained. Okay, finally, this last example, if you start reading from the word players of violent video games are not simply passive viewers of realistically depicted violence, they instead become the glorified gun-in-hand on-screen perpetrators, you'll note that the student actually, starting here, players of violent video games, took all this information word for word and did not put quotation marks around it. Now, the student did name Worthy in the sentence and therefore is not cheating. And in fact, all the student did here was to put Worthy claims that. 3 whole words when trying to explain this concept. Not a lot of work on the student's part. But the student did also put in a works cited, and therefore the student is not attempting to cheat in the sense that the credit is being given, but this is called non-attribution because the actual words of the author are not being attributed to the author with quotation marks. All right, so that should do it. You'll see the score and you'll be able to, I think, click on it. I'm not sure. I haven't actually seen it from your perspective, but I think in any case, yeah, it'll show you everything that's been plagiarized or taken word for word from the online sources. And hopefully that's not something you guys see when you click on your work. All right, thanks. I will be posting another video shortly about how to access the discussion board grades.